I wanted to introduce a gentleman who's done a lot of stuff for our program from a media standpoint, and I know some of you are very familiar with him, but he's going to introduce some of these guest speakers today. And this is Mr. Jeremy Sadowski, right here, former Mustang pilot.
Hi, fellow Mustangs. It's an honor for me to be here in front of you. Like Coach said, I've been covering Mustang football since going on my 18th year. You'll be seeing me about. After I left Mira Costa, I went to USC, and I took a class in sports business media, and that class affected me to this day. And I met one of my greatest mentors there, Jeff Fellenzer. Now Jeff, in addition to teaching sports business media and media technology at SC, he also is a voter for the Heisman Trophy. He voted last year for Christian McCaffrey, who, as you know, did not get it, possibly, I think, to the East Coast bias. But Jeff might get a little into that, so I would like a good Mustang welcome to Jeff Fellenzer, please.
Fellas, how are we doing today?
Good.
My friend George Rattling, who's a Hall of Fame basketball coach, just got elected to the Hall of Fame, in fact, this past September, says when we wake up in the morning, we have two choices when we start the day. We can be happy, or we can be very happy. So which one are we today? Very happy. All right. I feel like we're all blessed to be where we are, to be living the lives that we do, and especially in an area like this, in a great school with a great coaching staff and great people around you. It's all about the people in your life, the mentors and the coaches and the teachers. And, you guys will be in those positions someday, so you'll be leaders of your community, and you'll do great things. So this is a great time to be learning and soaking it all up, try to get the most out of every day. Jeremy mentioned that my class, Sports Business Media, I teach. We have about 150 students typically in a semester, so this seems like a very intimate gathering to me right here, very small. This is cool. But I bring in people that have been inspirational to me. John Wooden was a guest 3 times. Pete Carroll came. Al Michaels comes often. It spans from sports to the business side of sports, media. Louis Zamperini was a legendary track star and Olympian, and that was the movie Unbroken in the book his life was based on. He was also a frequent guest. Scott Boras and Jerry West, the longtime, the Lakers superstar, now works for the Warriors, was in class this spring too. So there's chances to learn from really good people in your lives. So hope you take advantage of that. One of the things that I talk about my keys to success, and it starts with what I call my 4 Ps that I think are just good to keep in mind, just something to think about. Passion, preparation, performance, and persistence. And I say it in that order because I think passion fuels everything else. Preparation, there's nothing more important than you getting ready for whatever you're doing, whether it's a game or a class, an exam. Preparation. I jotted down some notes about the person I'm going to introduce, and I can't help, for me, it's always about preparation. It's always walking into a room or on a field, a game, and you're ready to go. You've got to have performance. No matter what we do, there's a lot of people that would like to be in your place, whatever it is, and so if you don't perform, then you'll be replaced. So performance and persistence. Whatever you do, it's going to be about being persistent and not giving up. There's all sorts of adversity we go through in our life, and it's about being persistent and fighting through that. So my 4 Ps, again, are passion, which fuels preparation, which fuels your performance, and persistence is the underlying quality that's always there. So when I talk about my some of the special guests that I have, another guy that comes to my class every semester, and it's always a game changer for my class, is the guest that's here today. And when Lisa asked me about somebody that I could recommend, I said, well, I'm going to start with one guy. I think so highly of him. And he was gracious enough to be able to come and join us today. So this is a guy, this is real football royalty. This guy you're going to meet today, real football royalty. He came out of Santa Barbara High School. He was recruited by a USC assistant coach named Marv Gu, who's legendary, one of those ferocious assistant coaches that just gets after it every day in practice. He was the defensive coordinator, a former linebacker at USC. And he came out of Santa Barbara, and so he recruited this kid, and he comes in to USC, and they couldn't play as freshmen back then. Freshmen were not eligible. So his first game was as a sophomore. His very first game, USC takes a fully integrated team, you know, like your squad. You got people from all backgrounds, races, and, across the board, which is the way a team should be. That's the beauty of sports. So USC takes an all-black backfield on this integrated team. They have black quarterback, not very common at the time, Jimmy Jones. They had a black tailback, Clarence Davis. They had a black fullback named Sam Cunningham. He didn't start that game. He came in early in the game, didn't start. But here's USC, it's a fully integrated team. They go down to Alabama. They play the University of Alabama in Birmingham, all-white team. They had a black player on the JVs because, again, you couldn't play as freshmen. But it was an all-white team. This guy gets in the game, early in the game, runs for 135 yards and 2 touchdowns on only 11 carries, and absolutely just destroys, almost personally. They had a lot of help too, because SC just absolutely hammered Alabama 42-21. It wasn't even that close. I've seen film. We watched film of that game, and I asked Sam one time, you were bouncing off people. What was the deal? He goes, our practices were harder. You know, so they taught Alabama a lesson, and along the way, they affected college football forever, because it was not very long after that schools in the South started to accept black players, integrating the sport. That game caused 2 documentaries to be made, 2 books. One of them I brought with me. It's called Turning with the Tide, How One Game Changed the South. And Sam Cunningham wrote this book along with John Papadakis, who played Rolling Hills, and who's been a USC linebacker, and whose son you probably have seen, Petros, does a lot of media stuff, TV, radio stuff. But it was about what happened that night, and about the experience of going into an area and changing a culture, a total game changer, bringing that team down there, and what the impact that it had on life in the South, sports in the South. Somebody said that Sam Cunningham did more in 60 minutes for integration in the South than Martin Luther King did in 20 years. I mean, it was that impactful. So Sam goes on and plays 3 years at USC. The 1972 team, his senior year, many people think might be the greatest college football team of all time. It's in the discussion. They finished 11-0. They get into the Rose Bowl against Ohio State. USC beats them 42-17. Sam scores 4 touchdowns, a record that still stands. Along the way, he earns the nickname Bam because he had this skill of being able to launch himself over the pile and into the end zone. And they used him on short yard situations. He would just launch himself. It was the most amazing thing you've ever seen. A guy this size, a fullback, that could just launch himself like Sam could. So he became Sam Bam Cunningham. He's the 11th pick in the draft by the New England Patriots. To this day, with 5,453 yards, he is the leading rusher in New England Patriots history, which he will say, thank God for Tom Brady. Because they don't run the ball as much as they would if they didn't have Brady. But to this day, he retired after a 10-year career in the NFL. And by the way, that was when the AstroTurf was there. It wasn't field turf. It was about as soft as this, maybe. If maybe not that soft. 10 years of that. Played in the Pro Bowl and had just a great impact on his franchise. Made great friendships, and to this day, this is what he accomplished. He is for his exploits on the football field. He's on the Santa Barbara High School Wall of Fame. He's in the USC Hall of Fame. He's in the Rose Bowl Hall of Fame. He was the player of the game that year in the Rose Bowl, his senior year. and he's in the New England Patriots Hall of Fame, and he's in the College Football Hall of Fame. He's also, the name Cunningham, when I say royalty, it's not just football, it's athletics, period. His younger brother, Randall Cunningham, you may remember the name, was a quarterback for the Eagles and Vikings. Randall's son, Randall II, just won the NCAA high jump championship. NCAA champion as a sophomore at USC, went to Bishop Gorman. And the younger Cunningham, Randall's sister, Vashti, is not going to compete in college because she's already been signed by Nike. She's gone pro right out of Bishop Gorman, and she's going to compete over the next few Olympics for a spot on the Olympic team as a high jumper as well. So that's what I call real royalty in the Cunningham family. So Sam, what I say about all those Hall of Fame honors, what I say is that more than that, to me, he's a Hall of Fame person in every way. It exceeds what he did on the football field. He's here today because he wants to spend time with you guys and share some thoughts. But as I said, I consider him a Hall of Famer in every way on and off the field. So gives me a great deal of pleasure to introduce truly one of the great football players in USC and NFL history, and one of the great people that I know, Sam "Bam" Cunningham.
We only had 2 high schools. So we chose one or the other. And the one I chose was Santa Barbara High, which is the second oldest high school in California. And whenever I tell people that, they ask me what's the oldest, and I have to tell them it's Loyola. So that's the all-boys school. So anyway, I always was pretty good at athletics, running, jumping, whatever. Back in that era, we always played out in the streets. And, we didn't have anything you guys had. We didn't have video games. We didn't have digital phones. We had dial-up phones and one TV, and I was a remote when my dad wanted to change. So I would stay out the house. I wouldn't have to be remote. So at my high school, everybody I played with was everybody that I grew up with as a little kid. We had been competing with and against one another that whole time. So we would go to the games on Friday nights. Football in Santa Barbara's big time. 8,000, 10,000, 10,000 people come to a game. And as a young kid, we would always play. They'd be playing a football game, we'd be playing a football game in behind the bleachers. We would roll up cups or whatever. We'd make a football. That's why I'm really, really upset that they charge talking about the deflate game. We used to play with cups. You could play football with anything. And we used to play and look forward to our day to do the Santa Barbara down. So, and that eventually happened, of course. But my first experience with football was at Franklin Elementary School. And I don't know how early in life you guys started to play sports and football, right? But we played football, we played baseball, we played basketball, we played volleyball, we played dodgeball, we played foursquare, we played the whole 9 yards. What's the one with the ball on the pole? Tetherball. We played it all. We played it all. And I tell people all the time, I was a good athlete, but I was probably a better competitor because I hated losing. And I wasn't always the most gifted athlete. But if you beat me, you were going to have to really, really do something special to beat me. So, that's just how my mindset is. But I had a coach at Franklin, and he gave me 2 rules about, I'm going to say probably about being an athlete. He says, be a good team, number 1, and have fun. That's pretty simple. But then my dad had 2 other rules. Once you start, you can't quit and give everything you have. So there we go. I got 4 rules. Nothing complicated, nothing, I didn't have to get a lawyer and figure out what's going on. You know, it just was what it was. And so I took those 4 rules from elementary school to middle school to high school to the pros, and I passed them on to my kids. I pass them on to my nephews, I pass them on to my nieces, I pass them on to my godchildren. Because they're very, I mean, they work in life in general. They don't just work on football, but they work in general in life. And see, what you guys have to understand, football is probably the largest team sport there is, and there's a lot of different personalities, a lot of different things going on. And at some point in time, you have to set all those aside if you want to be successful with the team. You know, when I went to New England, I got put with people that I didn't know. I mean, I was drafted to New England. I didn't have any relatives or any friends. I had one cat that came to California, so I hung with him and then they cut him. So now I got to figure out how to get along with people from different parts of the country and whatnot. But because of how I was raised and what I was taught and what I learned at those levels and in college, you know, I was able to make adjustments and do whatever I needed to do, you know, and stick around for 8 or 9, 10 years. So, you know, what you guys have to understand is that football is none of you have to play football. It ain't that serious, okay? But if you want to play football, be all in. Okay, because it's probably one of the most painful sports I've ever done in my life, I mean, to this day. So you got to be all the way in. You got to get along with your teammates. You got to get along with your coaches. That don't mean you got to like them. But you got to get along with them. You got to set aside whatever differences you have. Because the end result of a football team is the one-loss record, how they do on Friday, Saturday. You guys play Tuesday, all kinds of nights now. But whatever you do that night, you know. And of course, not everybody's going to play. But I always said that you're only as strong as the least talented person on your football team. Because at some point in time, that person may have to come in and carry the load. So if you don't help him become stronger, then when you need him, it might not work out. So what you guys have to remember is that it's all about this core group right here. Right in here. Right in here. You guys go working out in the hot sun. You guys do whatever you do. You guys have dreams and desires to be doing what you want to be because of this game of football. You know, and I'm going to assume all of you are competitors. Yeah, I was. Didn't have anything to do with football. I played football, basketball, ran track. I was a California State shot put champion in 1969. Threw the shot like almost 65 foot. And you know, I just did what I did. You know, but I enjoyed it. I loved it, and I always was in it. I mean, I wish I could be in your chairs now, but you know, I can't. You know, but you know, because the relationships, the friendships that I made through all those years of playing football and playing sports, you know, a lot of us still talk and hang out and see each other. I mean, we're older, broke down and whatnot, but you can still tell really good lives and enjoy what we did. It might be a little bit overblown, but you know, enjoy what we did. So I remember coming and watching this program. This program has a lot of history. And I remember coming and watching this program when Coach Dotson's son played it. That was, how many years ago was that? Yeah.
Back here.
05, 06. Yeah,
About 12 years ago.
That's a long time ago. And you guys were really good then. So you guys have been coaching here with 13 years?
We came over here in 93.
Okay. That in itself says that you're good. And you have the potential to be great. You know, now, coaches coaches get what they get. If you understand what I mean. They get a bunch of kids. They look at it. They try to put stuff up on the board like this. You know, it's way more complicated than when I was doing it. But anyway, same thing though. And they try to figure out how they're going to be a successful football team. The coaches also know that they're at the mercy of the guys that they're coaching. Okay, because if you guys don't hold each other up, if you guys don't help each other, if you guys don't finish out drills or help your teammates finish out drills, you know what I mean? We had drills that it was like a certain amount of time that we had to run like 120 yards on the football field. And we had to run that like 12 times, we had to be underneath this thing. I could do it, but my 280-pound lineman couldn't. So if one guy didn't finish the drill, we had to start all over from the top. So once I saw him lagging, then I would pull back and just run with him, and then like make sure that we finished underneath. It didn't have to be by a lot, but make sure we finished, because that's part of what I was supposed to do. You know, I don't mind conditioning, but I don't want to have to do it all over again. So you guys have to figure out how to become great. The coaches have the ability to give you all the tools to be great, but if you don't have that desire and that motivation to be great, then you're going to be good because you have talent, but you're not going to be great. And see, like I said, football is a very painful sport, so if you don't play it, you're not going to be great. And that's where my dad's two rules be. Once you start, you can't quit, and once you do everything you have. So my mom and dad, you guys' parents are way more knowledgeable about everything than my mom and dad was. My dad never came to practice. My mom never came to practice. They come to the game, but they never sit together. Because my mom always thought I was going to be hurt. And my dad would sit with his boys in the goalposts and smoke, well, you can smoke in a football game and smoke cigarettes and watch us play. So when it came time for me to get a scholarship to go to SC, it didn't know anything, just you getting all these letters. So I give them and show them to them. But they knew that I wanted to go to SC. They knew that I liked SC. And they knew that I wanted to go to school and went to Roosevelt. And as Jeff said, Coach Boo was my way in, because he had been paying attention to me ever since I was a kid. His elementary school coach was the brother of my elementary school coach, so he knew everything about me. And I think back at some of the things that I did that were stupid things, and people would step in the way and kind of keep me away from it, and it's because he had people watching out for him. You don't really know how the hands of fate work. We all think you guys are way smarter than I was. You got technology. Probably know how to play football better. I don't know if you can compete as hard as I could. I'm gonna hurt, you're gonna hurt more. That's pretty much how it works. And that don't mean I'm always gonna win. And I'm all right with it. But at the end of the day, you're gonna have to do your best. And you guys have to approach it like that. Approach it like that, because late in the fourth quarter, minute and a half left, one time out, you gotta figure out how to get it done. And that's all of you guys. All the coaches can do is give you a play. Or a couple plays. But you guys have to figure out how to execute and do all those things. And once you do that more than once, then you become empowered. And that empowerment will take you further than the football. Because some of you are not going to play any more football after this program. And some of you are. But with the lessons that you learn from being a part of a great program and being competitive will last you the rest of your life and give you an opportunity to be successful and be good at whatever you decide to do. I didn't have any boys, I had girls. And my youngest girl probably would have been a really, really good nose tackle. She's real aggressive. I can't, she's so aggressive, I can't even wrestle with her anymore. She beats me up. But then my other one is like a social butterfly, so all she wants to do is run around. But I have nephews, I have a godson that's an Oregon Duck fan. And I tell him all the time, I say, so you want to be an Oregon Duck because you want to look in the closet and see what you can wear. And he goes, no, that's not. I said, well, why do you like them? They have won a national championship. They just now got 100 trophies. We've had 7. We've had 11 national championships. 100, I can't even imagine how many first-round draft choices and whatnot. I said, but you want to be an Oregon. And so he'll call my phone sometimes and leave a message and go crack. And then I'll call his phone and leave a message, fight on. So we just mess with each other that like that. But, I've had a very blessed life being, from me being an athlete. I was a little kid like you guys before you got here. And did I know anything like this was going to happen? No. You may have a sense of something that's going to happen, but you don't really know. You got to just put in the work. And if you put in the work as hard as you can, good things will happen. That's just what it was. The Alabama game, I just played a football game. Did I know that was going to happen that night? No. But did I know what was going to happen from it over the course of time? No. See, that's why you do the best you can do, because you never know what that evening or that play or that participation in that sport will come to. I didn't know. I just kind of went on the bus for played a football game, and come back, and almost 50 years later, college football is what you see it because of that. So when you watch us play Alabama on September 3rd in Texas, understand this: on September 12th in 1970, Alabama looked nothing like that. Nothing. They were a good team. They were not as good as we were. And now, if you had to put a team together, that's what you probably do. See, they've been so consistent over the time as far as coach setting and that. But now I have odds in how my team works, because Stanford plays like we used to play, and we don't play like we used to play. So things change, things happen, but we'll see how they go at it this year. I enjoy getting the opportunity to talk to you. I'm going to open it up for questions. Maybe there's something you want to ask. There was a reason that I was brought out here, but my main theme of this is that you guys in this room have to get with one another and play. The leaders, I don't know who the leaders are. But you guys have to include everybody. You guys have to be honest with one another. You guys have to come out of whatever tunnel or locker room you come out on Friday evening ready to take no prisoners. And if you do that, your season will be 100% better than you will if you don't do that. So, thank you for having me.
Sam's going to be an honorary captain, so you'll probably see him getting the pregame stuff and leading up to it. They're going to write and talk a lot about that night in 1970 and the history that was made. So I would really advise you, if you can, to make sure you watch that game on the 3rd. And also, and I think you guys would all really love this, and Coach Morrow, if you haven't seen it, Showtime did a documentary about the USC Alabama game in 1970 called Against the Tide. You can get it on Netflix. It came out 3 years ago. I show it to my class every time that Sam and John Papadakis come to class. And HBO did a documentary a couple years before that called Breaking the Huddle, the Integration of College Football. That's an overall look at how college football is integrated. The Showtime documentary Against the Tide is just about the USC Alabama game, narrated by Tom Selleck, and it's really, really good. So you can get it on Netflix. So do you guys have questions for Sam? Coach, you want to start?
I have a million questions for Sam, but I didn't want to, you know, how about you? Let's start with these young men. Do you guys have something you'd like to ask? I call him Mr. Cunningham.
Yes. Did you know that you were going to be playing football for like the rest of your life? Like after you were play football at USC, did you know that you were going to be enter the NFL draft and play football for basically the rest of your life?
No, I mean, back in my era, football wasn't on TV as much as it is now. And I just played year by year by year. I didn't know, this is what's crazy about this. I go to SC, I go through the madness that you go through there being a very competitive program. I think my junior year, I blew this knee out, so I'm in the middle of rehab, and some of the cats coming back to campus were guys that I played with, and they're driving new cars, money in their pocket, nice clothes. And so I asked them, I said, man, they're crazy. You play football? Yeah, and they go, yeah. I said, I can do this because I'm way better than you. And that's when it, you know, I mean, there's a lot of things that you have to do, and a lot of hoops that you have to jump through in order for that to happen. But I saw them making money, like, yeah, I can do this, you know, and I was blessed and blessed God to come back off his knee, play that next year, like 70, 72, run the table, win a national championship, get drafted in the first round, and so, you know, those 4 rules that I told you about are the same 4 rules that carried me that whole distance. So, you know, you have to sit down and think about it. You guys probably think about it a lot more than I ever did. I didn't, you know, it just was what it was. I just played. I didn't care about football or nothing like that. I didn't actually think, like I said, I could play until my junior year at SC. Anything else?
We've had a Mustang up there the last few years, J.R. Tavai. I was wondering if you had a chance to meet him and had a chance to follow him and whatnot.
I've run across him. I haven't had a chance to meet him per se because they won't let me into the K Center. They got biometrics. I don't even understand that. So, but yeah, I've had a chance to meet him, and he's a great kid. And, you know, that program is real competitive, you know what I mean? And there's a lot of ghosts in that program that you not only compete against the guys that you play with, but you compete against those ghosts. You know, and I mean, just like the other day, I was in the Coliseum locker room. Jeremy was doing filming a documentary interview, and I'm in the locker room. They weren't there, so I'm walking in the Coliseum locker room, and it's like eerie because I'm thinking of all the people who have been in this locker room. You know, and the locker room is nothing like it was when I was playing. But you just know that they're here, and they've been in the home and the business. You know? So yeah, sometimes it's hard to get over that, get by that. You know, but if you don't clutter your mind, keep things simple, and just play. You know, the game of football is all about fundamentals. If you can't do the fundamentals well, then you're not really going to play. It's about natural talent and greatness too, but at some point in time, the fundamentals are going to be very important if you're up against somebody who has the same amount of talent as you. Then you got to come through with the fundamental side of it and do what you do. So, JR is talking up. Here we are.
Facing hardships on your way to becoming a great athlete?
Repeat that?
Did you face any hardships on your way to becoming a great athlete?
Of course. Did I do dumb stuff? Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, everybody does that. We're human. We're human. But see, my parents, even though they didn't get involved in my football and my athletic stuff, they were real tough on me at home. So I feared them more than I feared the police if I got in trouble. So a lot of that stopped me from doing some of the dumb stuff. That didn't mean stop me from doing all of it, but it stopped me from doing most of it. And in my hometown, it's like a village. You know, everybody really thinks about it. So, you know, I could be across town, and when I got home, my mom knew where I was because they would call and say, I saw your boy over here, you know. And she'd ask me where I was to see if I was going to lie about it. After I got dusted the first couple of times, I said, better tell the truth. You know, and so there's always hardship. But, you know, how you come back from it determines how you are. See, you guys have way too many ways to get in trouble. You know, you got Facebook, you got Instagram, you got Snapchat, you got whatever. Everything you do, somebody might be filming it. You know, we didn't have all that. I'm sure the statute of limitations is off some of the stuff I did, but you guys have to take that into consideration. That do something really bad, somebody probably has a record of it. So you really need to think 2 or 3 times before you decide to make a decision that's not positive or whatnot. So, I mean, but that's common sense. So, you know, but like I said, we're all human and we're going to test the waters. But if you test it the wrong way, then what you're trying to do may not happen. So just be careful with that.
What was your favorite part about playing?
My favorite part? Practice. That's where I learned how to play football. The games were fun because I only had to run and play one time. But practice is where I learned my craft. And our teams were really close, so if I needed work on something, my teammate I'd ask him and he'd stay out late and we'd work on it. So for me, practice and just the competitive spirit of it, you know, and so I didn't have anything to do with the hoorah. You know, I just love competing, and that's what I enjoy about it now. You know, but you know, I had a coach in high school, Sam. His daddy, his brother was Brian Cathcart. He was an official in the NFL. His son, Scotty Cathcart, worked for the CIF Southern Section for many years. He's now the athletic director at Alomar JC. He passed away within the last couple of years. So, you know your coach. You think you know your coach. Okay, so I don't know my coach. I go to the memorial service. I found out that my coach was like a silver star guy. So now I go, ding! Now I know why he's there. But so you learn what makes people tick. You know what I mean? And he was teaching us what he knew. And it wasn't pretty, it wasn't fun, but it was all functional. You know, and some of the things that you guys may get from your coaches, you go, oh man, this is not terrible. But at some point in time, that's going to come into play somehow, some way. You know, now, if you want it to come into play, I always tell people, be one of the 11 playing on the football field. Because if you're not one of the 11 playing on the football field, they're going to come into play. And so my desire to play is, I never wanted to be standing on the sideline unless my offensive team or my defensive team wasn't in. Because in high school, I played both ways. I was fullback, running back, and I was a linebacker, rover, and I punted. So I never really left the field. I just played all night long. Unless we broke out, in the league or something. But that was how it had always been through the different levels of guys that played at that high school. So that's just what we did. So you know, for me, the more I played, when I was your age, I was probably a really good athlete, but I played better football when I was like 29 or 30, because I'd seen so many repetitions, and I could see stuff happening before it happens. So, that's what life, see, that's why your mom and daddy know that you're doing dumb shit, because they've done it. And they see you doing it, and they ask you about it, and you lie, then they go, you get caught. That's just how it is, you know. But you know, like I said earlier, that's human nature. So my thing is just have fun with it. You know, that first rule that my coach gave me in elementary school, or second rule, you know, be a good teammate and have fun. And if you do that, you enjoy it, because see, what most kids remember is their senior year or their last year in high school, wow, their team. That's what most people identify. Oh yeah, we want to see our championship, or we want to go to the playoffs. You know, what did you guys do? Man, we like one game. Okay, I don't want to talk. I want to talk to somebody who wants some football. You know, so those are memories that you're trying to put together now for 20, 30 years down the line. You know, when you come back to that reunion, everybody looks fat and old. You know, tell the stories and tell us and enjoy one another. Somebody else? Yes.
Yeah, thank you. So let's go back to 1970 if we could. Now you know that I know, Jeff knows that I know, that there's at least 2 scripts that we know of going around to make a movie of that. I know you worked on that. And this is not the venue to ask who should play you, but
What you're going to ask me?
no. Well, that'll be a sub question. And if you watch the HBO session, you see that you had characters, major characters on that team.
Okay.
And all you gotta do is watch the HBO special, and you and I have talked about Cody Smith and some of the other characters. I wonder what brought that team together, and was there a moment when you knew that you guys were unified, and it was going on that year?
Well, you know what? What I have to do, I have to tell you the truth. That team only went 6-4-1 that year, which is real mediocre by USC standards. But because that game was the very first game to come out to shoot, we came out with everything we needed to do to handle that. Now, I couldn't tell you what brought it together because I was just a baby per se, like a sophomore. My other year had been a freshman, and I had been beat up by the defensive team, the Wild Bunch, the whole year before that. So I'm trying, my first spring, I went out, I had tape on my arm, and I had people's numbers that had just used me in the fall that I was going to get back because I could actually hit them. So people come and say, "What is all that?" I said, "Oh, your number's not on there. You'll be all right." But it had a sense, that team had a sense of, it had probably too many personalities, crazy personalities. And those personalities were the leaders of the team, so whatever they wanted to do, if it had to be them and about what they did, it was them and about what they did. What I learned from that is that when I became a senior a couple years later, that I wanted everybody to be all included, inclusive. So sophomores and juniors and seniors all hung out together, whereas, like I said earlier, you guys need to be inclusive to make sure everybody is a part of this because you guys are all one big team. Yeah, there's freshman year, and I guess you guys did it, right? And there's varsity, but I don't know if you guys practice together or not practice together. I'm not 100% sure you're running the same offense. All the way through there. So, if you want to know something, go up and ask an older cat, boo, 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 And if you're the older cat, give him the wisdom, because you can't take the wisdom with you. It's just not happening. So anyway, but those leaders on that team, they weren't about that. It was about themselves. So that's why we had a great first game. I think we came back and we tied Nebraska. And I figured out the rest of the season went, but it was a struggle. It was a struggle, you know, because it wasn't typical USC football, because before they went 10-0 and went to the Rose Bowl. And that was, I think, the 4th time in a row they went to the Rose Bowl, so everybody just thinks we're going to go forever and ever and ever. But we did. We missed it 2 years, and we went in 72. And that probably, in my mind, was the biggest college football team ever, but you know, I'm going to say that because I played on it. But, you know, I would, if we could go back in time and suit up, I'd put that team against any of the ones that come today. It just is what it is. So, but you have to somehow control the personalities in the room, and hopefully those personalities are not so far out there that you can't do that. You know what I mean? If you can do that, you'll be all right. But sometimes you lose a little bit of control of it, and that's what coaches dread when they can't control some of the things that's happening in the room. And whatnot, knowing that they have talent, knowing that they can play, knowing that they can do what they do. So, but that's all what you guys have to figure out. And he can tell you, you guys need to do this, this, this. And you know, what I found out is you can have 2 meetings, but probably 1 is about it. They have 2 or 3 of them because it's pretty much a done deal after that. So, you know, I played with a lot of great players, a lot of great athletes, a lot of great coaches. And I've been blessed and had a lot of great friends, Jeff, Mike, Jeremy, and now you guys are part of that family too. So I'm going to have to come out and check you guys out. So I'm not going to tell you when I come. So it's no problem.
One other question over here.
In your opinion, what makes a great leader?
Well, there's good company. There's ones that always make noise and fire people up, and there's ones that's always quiet leaders and are always letting the other person know. I mean, you know, like, I was a running back in the NFL for 9 years. And so, you know, I had great offensive line. But sometimes we played against great defensive line that they didn't have a jump count. So, you know, I'm paying attention because you know, that madness is happening up there in a few seconds, it's going to be back there with me, right? So we get together. And so I asked him, I said, man, what's the big problem, man? He said, man, I can't handle him. I can't handle him. I said, okay. I said, all right. I said, bring him upfield, let him go. And I got him. Okay, so he brings him upfield, lets him go. I put the Wilkerson on him. Now he's cussing me out, and I said, dog, that's my boy you messing with. I said, if you want that again, come on, keep on going. So I wouldn't hear no more about it the rest of the game. So leaders are made in many different ways because they help in many different ways. And you don't have to be vocal with your leader. But if you go out and work hard and practice all the time and you ask questions and you help your teammates and whatnot, you're a leader. You know, but you know, if you know, and it helps, you're a leader too. You know what I mean? So it's hard to put your meaning to that there because there's so many ways to do it. So, yes.
Did you play with O.J. Simpson?
Pardon?
Did you play with O.J. Simpson?
I played after O.J. He recruited me to go there. So he played, when I was in New England, he played with me. So the first year, my first year, 73, when he ran for 2,003 yards and broke the rushing record. He gained 469 of those 2,003 on my defense. You know, so I watched him run for 250 the first game. I watched him run for 219 in the Blizzard. So yeah, he was a great player. Anything else? Good morning.
Sam, I want to add just one thing. Your question about leader, it goes also true for off the field too. So you can be a great leader if you have a teammate. You're all brothers in here. If you have a teammate that's in a situation out off the field, like a party or someplace where you don't think he should be, you could be a great leader by taking him out of that situation. That's great leadership. It's not just on the field, but it's keeping an eye out for your brothers off the field.
Just watching out for everybody.
Sam mentioned teammates. One of the first things he said was teammates. So that's a really, really, really important bond. the last thing I just want to ask, how many of you guys have ever been to a game, a pro football game in person, NFL game in person? Okay. Well, that's cool. But none of you have been alive when we've had a pro football team in LA. So it's pretty cool that we'll have a team again. How many people are Rams fans right now at this point? How about Niners? Oh wow. How about Seahawks? How about New England Patriots? All right. So I was
Wait. How about Raiders?
all right. How about Packers? Green Bay Packers. So Sam, any thoughts about pro football coming back to LA? What these guys can look forward to having pro football in the city? Sure.
I think the pro football that they put on TV now is different than the pro football I played in and the pro football that Scott Roberts played in. It's always been entertaining, but it's over the top entertaining. You know, I mean, we got a station that, you know, if you want to know the millimeter that somebody ran or jumped or did, you got to go to the NFL channel, turn it on, and they got it. So if you guys are into that, you can have a vested interest because now you got a team in LA. You'll have the presence of the NFL in LA. I think in 2022 is when we had the Super Bowl.
I think so.
Yeah,
New stadium in 19.
Yeah, 2022 Super Bowl will be here. You know, I have to make an admission. I don't really like to sit up at a football game and watch football. Now, I love to play football. I just don't really like to sit up and watch it. You know, because I sit with people and they get to talking crazy and I look at them and go, really? Because they ask me, they say, what are you watching? I said, man, I'm watching these three people over here. And they look at me and they go like, what? I said, I watch football like I study football. And I said, these 50-yard line seats ain't real cool because I like the end zone so I can see everything open up. And they go, yeah, but these is like, I said, yeah, they cost too much money. So, me, that's just my likes and dislikes, you know, but you guys, there are a lot of great athletes in the NFL. And now you'll see some right in your own backyard. So it'll be fun. I mean, I think the stadium would be like 10 minutes from our house. So I probably can hear the game. I guess, you know, unless it's at home, I can probably hear the game going on. You know, but it's a great thing for it coming back, and I figured it would. You know, I figured it would, and it's perfect for it's the Rams because they should have never left. I mean, that's it. So, Coach, let me ask you a question. So, what they look like?
Well, we have some pretty good hopes for these guys. A tremendous number of back that played as 10th graders and juniors last year. So we have tremendous optimism for the season coming up. You know, we just the last 4 or 5 weeks, raise your hand for Sam if you're a brand new 9th grader. So now, I don't know how it was in your day, but we just met these guys 4 weeks ago. We never had any association with them before that. But we're trying to get them groomed for their 9th grade year. And so anyway, we've had a great summer. This is our next week's our last week of the summer. Take about a 2 or 3 week break. And had to go on August 15th. So we're looking forward to it.
Well, let me explain one other thing. The game of football, just as Jeff said, it's about character. And character, everybody do the right thing, say the right thing when people watching them and they have the camera on. In my mind, character is what you do when there's nobody watching. charge 2 or 3 weeks off. Don't do anything extra. Okay, because if you do, you're letting your teammates and your coaches and your school down. So just concentrate on being the person that you are. Don't leave, stay in your lane, don't move out. And you'll be all right, you'll be able to come back and play some really good football. And you know, that's for me, it always was a challenge of the season. You know, the first game, you may know you're good, but you don't really know how good you are. You kind of just want to get out there and get the butterflies out and do what you need to do. But you want to be a really good football team with a bunch of good people who have character. If you do that, you'll be okay. So I can tell those were young because they're not all bunched up like the old.
They're good there.
Coach, you have them standing. I know the ninth graders are standing. They don't get to sit down yet, right?
Yeah, they got to earn that seat, I think. Yeah, I just want to say, if I could too, I grew up watching this guy. He grew up watching, I mean, he's from, this is like, when Jeff talks about royalty, I mean, I know who this dude is. And I just can't thank him enough for coming down and speaking. One of the things I love, and you guys know that I love this about his humility. Can you sense his humility? Is he an arrogant, cocky son of a bitch? Is that what you see? I love that. I love his humility. I love how well spoken he is. Don't you love that? I love that about him. For him to come down on a Friday afternoon and give time to you guys, I can't thank him enough. And Jeff, just thank you so much for coming down. We appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. When I was a guy today, Santa Barbara not a very big place, like 66,000 people. And when we had a sellout crowd at the Coliseum, it was like 80,000, so there were more people in the Coliseum than there in my hometown. But I always had people who knew being washed out, and so and those, that was very, very important to whatever my success is. I had a lot of people helping me become doing what this is right here. You know, and some days it's better than others, you know, but it is what it is. And so I just enjoy coming back and trying to give back something that I got because, like I said, I can't take it with me, so I might as well pass it on. You know what I mean? And I was like that when I played. Even the cat who was my backup, I would always be giving him tips on how to do this and how to do that. Now, maybe he couldn't do it because he's a different type of player than me. But no, I'm going to give you everything I got so that you, if I get hurt and go down and you go in, it won't be like a surprise. You know what I mean? So that's just what I did, you know what I mean? And so, you know, you guys marinate on that, put in the work, and I guarantee you good things will happen. You know what I mean? There's always an X factor, injury, this, that, and other, but you know, that's going to happen. That's just what football is. You gotta come at it with a mindset that every day, every play, every practice, I'm giving the best I can. And if you don't, then you're letting down the team. You're letting down your coaches. You're letting down your family. You're letting down your school. So, you know, just work with it and keep that mindset. You know, I mean, yeah, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard to work through some of the badness, but you know, there's a light at the end of that tunnel. Okay.